évidemment, comme tout ceci continue à être un apprentissage pour plusieurs d'entre nous, moi la première. On a eu quelques petits soucis techniques qu'il fallait ajuster, mais on est très, très, très content de pouvoir être en mesure de poursuivre ou de commencer cette conversation virtuelle. Bienvenue surtout aux personnes qui ont peut-être vu cette conversation avec la ministre Ng et la secrétaire parlementaire Rachel Bendayan reportée une ou deux reprises. Donc, merci de votre patience et surtout de votre compréhension. Donc, mon nom est Déborah Cherenfant, je suis la présidente et porte-parole de la Jeune Chambre de commerce de Montréal. Et on est très, très content de pouvoir vous offrir cette conversation virtuelle gratuite dans le cadre de notre programmation en ligne qu'on a débuté, comme vous avez pu le voir, depuis le début du confinement, donc à la mi-mars, donc pour vous offrir vraiment un contenu en ligne qui correspond à vos attentes et à vos besoins. Je dois quand même saluer, vous verrez probablement les logos sur la bannière. Je dois absolument saluer nos partenaires, nos grands partenaires, surtout de la Jeune Chambre de commerce de Montréal, qui rendent encore possible la réalisation de ces événements, notamment Bell, BMO, Énergir, la Ville de Montréal, ainsi que CN, que nous avons rajouté dans notre grande famille en décembre dernier. Petite mention aussi pour CN qui a récemment annoncé un investissement dans la grande région métropolitaine de Montréal afin d'acquérir 50 camions électriques de la compagnie électrique Lyon, un acteur important de l'écosystème d'innovation verte au Québec. Donc, félicitations à notre grand partenaire pour cette acquisition. Et bien évidemment, ça nous rend très fiers de voir l'implication que continuent d'avoir nos grands partenaires dans dans l'écosystème pour soutenir l'innovation en combinaison avec les efforts du gouvernement. Aujourd'hui, la conversation que nous vous proposons, c'est une conversation avec l'Honorable Mary Ng, ainsi que la secrétaire parlementaire et députée d'Outremont, Rachel Bendayan. La ministre Ng est responsable des petites entreprises ainsi que du commerce international et particulièrement un des éléments qui, moi, m'interpelle, responsable de la stratégie fédérale en entrepreneuriat féminin que vous avez probablement dû voir passer vers fin 2018 quand ça a été annoncé. Un peu pour vous expliquer le déroulement de notre conversation qui va être très dynamique, très courte aussi. Je vous en aurai, on est là pour à peu près 30-40 minutes pour cette conversation-là. Donc, on aura le panel avec Mme Bendayan ainsi que la ministre Ng, mais tout avant, j'aimerais quand même vous présenter un partenaire qui présente l'événement d'aujourd'hui, qui présente la conversation. C'est notre partenaire TD. Et certaines de vous le savent déjà, je me suis récemment jointe à l'équipe de la TD, du groupe Banque TD pour devenir directrice régionale femmes entrepreneurs pour ce nouveau segment qui a été créé pour la région de Québec. Donc, this is why I'm even more excited and proud that TD decided to present this virtual event in our efforts to support more entrepreneurs, but also in particular women entrepreneurship. Vous avez vu que j'ai en bon français switché en anglais because this event today will be bilingual. Donc, de temps en temps, je vais faire des allers-retours dans la langue de Molière et dans la langue de Shakespeare. So please bear with me as I will be maybe occasionally struggling to find the words in French, maybe in English. But this event, we're proud to present this event in French and in English. And Minister Ng will answer my questions in English. Et Mme Bendayan va répondre à mes questions en français. Donc, avant de vous présenter la personne de la TD qui sera là pour présenter ses mots d'ouverture, j'aimerais juste qu'on prenne le temps de regarder cette courte vidéo qui présente un peu les axes importants de notre segment Femmes entrepreneurs au sein du groupe Banque TD.
What we want to make sure, like our mission, is to facilitate the success and growth for women entrepreneurs through collaboration.
I really appreciate when a financial institution can be an informed partner and advisor in navigating this very complex world.
Presenting the highlights of our Women Entrepreneur segment, I'm very happy to introduce Trevor Van Aragon, who's the AVP, the Associate Vice President of Segments and Small Business Banking Initiatives at TD, to say a few words.
Great, thank you, Deborah, and thank you everyone for coming today and for giving me this opportunity to say a few words here quickly. We're really pleased to be supporting this event, especially as we move into this recovery phase. We know entrepreneurs will really need our support more than ever. But we also know that all businesses aren't the same, and not every entrepreneur has the same needs. So at TD, we strive to provide advice tailored to the needs of the individual businesses and the individual business owners. And so that's why we launched our focus on women entrepreneurs last year at TD. It's really important for us that we focus be more than just words and more than just a marketing campaign. Our intent is truly to promote an environment where more women choose to become entrepreneurs and to provide meaningful ways for women-owned businesses to benefit from their relationship with their bank. And at TD, we're doing this by collaborating with a number of organizations that are making a real difference for women. For example, we've teamed up with Futurepreneur, We Connect, RFAQ here in Quebec, to build programs that will provide better access to financing, mentorship, and new markets for women entrepreneurs. And we've also worked with a few of these organizations to build out training for our own business bankers who are focused specifically on helping women entrepreneurs grow their businesses. And I'm proud to say, as Deborah alluded to, she is actually leading this focus for the province of Quebec. So for us at TD, it's great to also see the government place such a focus on this key segment, as Minister Ng and her team have done. We know that a better and more diverse representation of business owners across Canada will be a key driver to our recovery and our growth as a country. This importance was again demonstrated yesterday in Prime Minister Trudeau's announcement of the $220 million loan program for Black entrepreneurs, which I'm sure both Mrs. Bendayan and Minister Ng played a significant role in. So I'm really looking forward to hearing more from those two leaders on these topics, as well as the role of entrepreneurs that they'll play in our economic recovery. So thanks again to everyone for joining today and for being here. Look forward to hearing more from them.
Thank you so much, Trevor, for being here and also for your few words. Thank you so much. Et là, maintenant, on va commencer, on va aller directement dans la présentation et je vais souhaiter la bienvenue à nos deux panélistes invités. So I'm going to welcome our two invited guests, or two panelists who will be doing the conversation with me. So I will be interviewing Minister Ng and also Rachel Bendayan. Donc, ladies, welcome.
Great to be here.
How are you?
Terrific, because we're all here together.
We are, exactly. Thank you for allowing, for making time for this event and also for allowing us to meet, even virtually, but at least we can have the conversation.
Oui, absolutely.
Exactly. I know you wanted to say a few words before we dive into the questions that I have prepared for you guys. So I'll let you start, Rachel.
Merci beaucoup, Déborah, et merci à la Jeune Chambre de commerce pour avoir organisé cette discussion super importante. Je suis très fière de pouvoir collaborer étroitement avec Mary Ng et notre équipe pour soutenir les petites entreprises canadiennes qui vivent, on le sait tous, des moments extrêmement difficiles depuis déjà quelques mois. Et Mary est un leader indéniable pour nos entrepreneurs et nos PME ici au Québec. Je sais ça personnellement et je crois que nous avons fait énormément en termes de programmes et de soutien déjà, mais la discussion d'aujourd'hui est importante parce que le travail, on sait, doit continuer. Les petites entreprises emploient plus de 8 millions de travailleurs dévoués à travers le pays. Elles sont à l'origine de 42% des exportations canadiennes et afin que le Canada demeure à l'avant-scène dans le monde après COVID, disons, il est essentiel de soutenir ces entreprises. Nous sommes également fort conscients que les programmes mis au point pour répondre aux besoins en temps de pandémie devront être adaptés alors que l'économie reprend petit à petit son cours normal. Alors, le gouvernement, Mary, moi, on consacre énormément de temps actuellement à des efforts d'adaptation de nos programmes. Ces programmes-là, rappelons-le, ont aidé de façon significative les entreprises de Montréal. Je pense au compte d'urgence pour les entreprises canadiennes qui a été tout récemment élargi grâce à votre rétroaction afin d'inclure encore davantage d'entrepreneurs, y compris ceux qui utilisent des contractants au lieu d'employés, par exemple. Et nous avons également modifié la subvention salariale d'urgence qui permet aux entreprises de toute taille de maintenir leurs employés et dans plusieurs cas de les réintégrer. Ce programme continuera d'aider les entreprises tout au long de leur relance au cours des mois à venir. Nous sommes également conscients de l'importance du secteur manufacturier, surtout ici au Québec, et que bon nombre de fabricants font face à des frais de fonctionnement accrus en ce moment. Et c'est la raison pour laquelle nous avons mis en place un programme permettant aux petites entreprises d'obtenir des prêts et des garanties de prêts pouvant atteindre 6,25 millions de dollars et 12,5 millions de dollars. Ce programme a été mis sur pied en collaboration avec la BDC et EDC. Et ces prêts sont disponibles auprès de votre institution financière locale. Nous avons aussi prolongé ce programme jusqu'en juin 2021 afin d'aider nos entrepreneurs à reprendre progressivement leurs activités. Et vous avez sûrement vu, nous avons investi près de 1 milliard de dollars, dont plus de 210 millions de dollars ici au Québec, par l'entremise du Fonds d'aide et de relance régionale. L'acronyme, c'est PHARE. Et ce programme-là a été mis sur place pour répondre aux besoins particuliers des entreprises québécoises. On parle ici tant des entreprises des régions rurales et éloignées que celles qui ont pignon sur rue sur nos artères commerciales à Montréal. Il y a à peine une semaine, PME Montréal a lancé le programme en collaboration avec le gouvernement fédéral ici à Montréal pour administrer ces fonds et offrir des prêts sans intérêt allant jusqu'à 40 000 $, y compris le 25% non remboursable, une formule très similaire au CIBA, le compte d'urgence. Alors, une priorité sera accordée aux entreprises n'ayant pas bénéficié, évidemment, des autres mesures d'urgence comme le prêt de 40 000 $. Mais ceci étant dit, tout le monde est la bienvenue de faire une demande. Toutes les informations pour présenter des demandes sont sur le site web de PME Montréal. Alors, je veux quand même laisser le temps à Mary, mais ne serait-ce pour dire la priorité numéro 1 de notre gouvernement a été de soutenir nos entrepreneurs à travers cette crise. Ça demeure notre priorité et ça fait toujours plaisir d'entendre votre rétroaction et vos commentaires par rapport à ce que nous faisons et ce que nous devons faire pour vous aider. Merci beaucoup.
Très apprécié. Merci beaucoup, Rachel. Effectivement, je pense que votre soutien et votre intérêt pour les entrepreneurs, je pense que c'est très, très, très bien fait sentir au cours des derniers mois. Puis on vous remercie pour ça. Minister Ng, do you want to say a few words as well before we dive into the questions?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. And it's wonderful to be here with you, Deborah, and of course with the Junior Chamber of Commerce. Bonjour tout le monde. Merci à tous de vous joindre à nous aujourd'hui. Permettez-moi de continuer cette conversation en anglais.
Perfect. Perfect for us as well.
Oh, I wish I could do more. It's really great to be here with you. It's great to be here with my friend, my colleague, and Parliamentary Secretary Rachel Bendayan, who you've just heard from. And I really do want to thank the Chambre de Commerce de Montréal for really helping small business owners, including women business leaders and young entrepreneurs, navigate COVID-19, and really to support them as we are safely restarting our economy. And I know that the last few months have not been easy. And yet through it all, you as business owners, as young innovators, as women entrepreneurs have absolutely shown both patience and resilience. And you've made incredible sacrifices through worry. I know that. I've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs across the country. You're wearing many, many different hats. You have faced the unknown. Many have had to temporarily close your doors to keep Canadians safe. You've adapted your business models to keep as many employees on the payroll as possible for those companies that are able to do so. You've shifted your businesses online. You've come up with creative solutions through uncertain times. And you've done everything you can to meet the needs of your customers, but probably a little bit differently. So I want you to know that I'm listening to you. We are listening to you. And we're all continuing to work hard to create the kinds of supports that you're going to need now, and certainly on that road to recovery. We know that you needed payroll support. Many of you who are here may already know this, but I think it bears repeating. The wage subsidy for businesses helps cover the payroll costs that businesses have. And so far, we're supporting over 3 million Canadian jobs. And for businesses that are not on there, I would encourage you to get on there, because it will help you pay for that absolutely necessary cost of keeping your people on payroll. And we know that when people stay with their companies, that company has a better chance at recovery. We also know that that there are fixed costs that businesses have to deal with. So items like rent is a fixed cost. We have helped out there, even though it isn't the federal government's responsibility. It's an area of provincial responsibility. But look, the way we look at it is we're all in this. We're all in this as Team Canada. So working to make sure that we are all helping each other out as Team Canada is what the work is. Earlier, when we were chatting just before coming on, we were actually talking about the CEBA loan. I don't know the French acronym, I apologize, but it's the Canada Emergency Business Account Loan, $40,000 interest-free, just to help Canadian businesses with that additional working capital or cash flow support. And so far, just to give you an order of magnitude, it's helped over 730,000 business owners and sole proprietors and independent contractors across the country. We just extended for a couple of months. It's a lot. I mean, 730,000 businesses. That's a lot. I mean, so we know that that it's having an effect. We just the finance minister and I announced that we are extending the support through to October. I know that's going to help businesses because as businesses are reopening and recovering, it's crucial to have that additional support. Deferring payments like GST, HST, customs duties. The point is, we just want to help in all areas where we can, because COVID-19 has really hit hard for so many businesses and small businesses. So making sure that we're there and we're behind you all the way is what this work is. And we're going to keep doing this. This is a time to also make sure that when we rebuild, that our economy is inclusive and it's competitive for generations to come. This is why we have partnered and invested in Futurepreneur with $20 million across the country during this pandemic. It's where we've also made sure that women entrepreneurs, we don't lose the gains in that inclusive growth. So we invested in women entrepreneurs during this period as well. We know that, that little kids are going back to school. Young people are going back to school. So making sure that businesses are being able to adapt, including women entrepreneurs, because it really is, it's at their fingers, it's at their doorsteps, right? Helping you reposition is what we need to do. So that's why we helped with the Women's Entrepreneurship Ecosystem Fund to help those businesses. And I'll just say one last word, because I think we want to get into the conversation. But as the International Trade Minister, we also wanted to, I've been working across the world with my counterparts in the global marketplace to make sure that those supply chains that have been under significant pressure during this time because of an over-reliance on a single supplier or, has created business risk. Canada is a trading country. Diversification is a part of our solution. We need to make sure we're helping businesses grow. We've been working with, with the APEC, with the G20, with the World Trade Organization, G20, you name it, just to be sure that we have worked closely, that we continue to stay closely connected to them so that those supply chains for medical goods, for food, for essential supplies remain open, so that our businesses can continue trading. Canada is a trading nation, so we need to make sure that these relationships and these supply chains continue to stay open, and at the same time making sure that we have domestic capacity, right? Made in Canada solutions for PPE, so that a great Canadian business all across the country are pivoting their businesses so that we can tackle COVID-19 together. When I think about in Montreal, take the local tailors of Samuelson Suits who've been making garments for 97 years. They've been in business for almost 100 years. Well, they thought during COVID-19, we're not making suits, but they're making medical gowns. They're making that to help frontline staff. That's one story. Rachel and I can tell you story upon story of just how incredible Canadian businesses are. There's countless examples. And with that, I will stop, but end it this way, which is to say, thank you. Canadian entrepreneurs are resilient, and we're going to get through this because we've been doing it as Team Canada, but we're going to need to keep doing it as Team Canada to keep people safe and to keep doing the work on our recovery all across the country, and particularly in Quebec and Montreal. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ng. I love the use of the term Team Canada. And before going back to the trade aspect of it, because I think that is a big issue that a lot of Canadian entrepreneurs, specifically Quebec and Montreal entrepreneurs, face today, I wanted to know, since March, and I think you've kind of described it all with the CEBA loan, CECRA, your team and yourself have been quite busy, even more than before, with all the programs and the aids that your government has been able to provide to entrepreneurs. Now that we're more and more open to talk of an aftermath and also to talk of a possible Canadian recovery, what does that look like to you? How does that resonate with you?
Well, it's really important. I mean, and it resonates very strongly with all of us in the government. The job has always been in this pandemic, keep Canadians safe and make sure that we are all doing this as Team Canada to flatten this curve. As I said earlier, businesses made sacrifices so that we can all be safe. And I want to sort of also say that we're not out of this yet, right? I mean, we have to find a way to live with COVID-19, which we are. The federal government, through its leadership, has made sure that it's worked with provinces and territories so that there is a safe restart program, right? I mean, it's $19 billion of a safe restart. Just a couple of weeks ago, before school started, the federal government put another $2 billion in to make sure that there's a safe school restart. So this is really Team Canada. And the reason that is so important is because we have to do that part right. Because as part of that safe restart, it includes funding to help with increased testing, increased contact tracing, childcare. I mean, it's Quebec is sort of leads the way that around childcare, but sure that we are working with the provinces, making sure adequacy of PPE, because making sure we've got that part, the health and safety of Canadians, is completely linked to the recovery of our economy. We've got to do it this way. So these programs that I talked about were to deal with the absolute emergency. But now, as we're also coming out, you're seeing that, like wage subsidy, it's been extended until December. We extended the secret program for another month. But I want to say to entrepreneurs who are listening, we are listening very carefully. We have been listening very carefully. So you've seen the government also pivot as we needed to, because adapting things to what you need as businesses. And you're gonna keep seeing that from us. So the health of our people, the economic recovery is going to go hand in hand. The better we're able to manage our health situation, then we don't see the shocks of having to close down, right? I mean, and we're going to keep doing this as we need to. And I am very confident in Canadian entrepreneurs and Canadian businesses, in their resilience and in their ability to adapt, take advantage of the programs we got out there. But we definitely have more work to do. The final point I will make here is that we have to have an economy that works for everyone in the economy. So I talked about young people. I talked about women entrepreneurs. Yesterday, the Prime Minister announced a significant program, the first of its kind for Black entrepreneurs in this country. And there are many elements that we'll have an opportunity to talk more, I think, in the number of questions that will come in the conversation. But the point is, we've got to make sure that we are including everyone in the economy, because the recovery has to include everyone. And we're going to keep doing this, the health of our economy and building back and building back better. But that's been the work. And you're right, it's been busy, but it's been busy, and it's wonderful, because I just want to thank the businesses for talking to us and constantly talking to us, and through the Jean Chambre Commerce de Montréal. Like, it's essential. Your voices and your perspectives are essential. So please keep doing that with us.
And please keep listening. And thank you for listening and being open to listen to the advice and the needs of entrepreneurs, as I see that you have been doing over the last month. And as you mentioned, we will, if we have time, get back to the details and also the motivation behind the big announcement that you and your government made yesterday targeting Black entrepreneurs, because of course it may interest a lot of people who are listening to us right now, and particularly myself. But I want to address Mrs. Bendayan right now. Madame Bendayan, vous êtes à Montréal présentement et vous savez qu'il y a très certainement une particularité au Québec, notamment parce qu'on a été la province et la ville les plus touchées. Comment vous pouvez dire que votre réponse a été adaptée à la spécificité des régions que nous représentons par votre équipe?
Merci, Déborah. Et effectivement, on parle depuis le début de notre approche Équipe Canada, mais il y a des réalités qui sont très différentes ici au Québec et à Montréal. Comme tu as si bien dit, Montréal a été gravement touché par la pandémie. Une des choses à laquelle je pense tout de suite, c'est que la semaine dernière, je me suis joint à Mary et à Mélanie Joly pour annoncer un 10 millions supplémentaires pour soutenir l'entrepreneuriat féminin. Et c'était vraiment de l'aide directe pour des organismes comme Microcrédit Montréal, École des entrepreneurs du Québec, Femmes et Sœurs, RFAQ. Ce sont des organismes et des institutions, tout comme la Jeune Chambre de commerce, qui sont primordiales afin de soutenir nos entrepreneurs à Montréal et au Québec. En tout et partout, l'annonce de la semaine dernière était à propos de 38 projets, mais nous savons que il y a des centaines et des centaines de projets sur lesquels nous pouvons travailler et sur lesquels nous travaillons en ce moment. Et j'ajouterais que dans mes conversations avec les entrepreneurs ici à Montréal, je constate qu'il y a énormément qui ont utilisé le prêt d'urgence de 40 000 $. Il y a énormément qui utilisent encore la subvention salariale d'urgence et comme Mary vient de dire, cette subvention salariale est vraiment très utile afin de garder vos équipes en place, mais aussi dans cette relance économique afin d'aider nos entrepreneurs à réussir et à continuer de rouler même dans cette période difficile. Ce programme-là a été prolongé jusqu'au mois de décembre tout récemment. Alors, ça donne un petit souffle à nos entrepreneurs. Ici, au Québec, nous avons le DEC, Développement économique Canada. DEC a des bureaux à Montréal, mais partout au Québec également. Et je pense que c'est $1 milliard qui a été investi à travers le Canada. De cet argent, il y a plus de 210 millions de dollars destinés aux entrepreneurs québécois. Et j'invite tous ceux qui se sont joints à l'appel ce soir de contacter le DEC afin de demander davantage sur le programme phare que j'ai mentionné tantôt. Et bien sûr, comme j'ai mentionné tout à l'heure dans mes remarques, il y a PME Montréal qui a mis sur pied un programme en partenariat avec le gouvernement fédéral afin encore une fois, de s'assurer qu'il y a une liquidité dans le marché pour nos entrepreneurs ici à Montréal. Alors, nous avons quand même une bonne panoplie de programmes destinés pour les entrepreneurs de Montréal et les entrepreneurs québécois.
Tout à fait, je vois ça et je pense que beaucoup de personnes qui sont en train de prendre des notes, moi-même, je suis en train de le faire. Donc, merci beaucoup de nous éclairer par rapport à ça et surtout de faire le tri parce qu'effectivement, je pense que c'est une des préoccupations de nos entrepreneurs, particulièrement des entrepreneurs féminines. Et c'est pas moi qui le dis, c'est un sondage réalisé notamment par Femmes et Sœurs, je pense au mois d'avril, au mois de mai, par rapport à toute cette difficulté de faire le tri dans toutes les offres. Donc, je pense que c'est important de rappeler ces éléments-là et surtout de les prendre en note quand on a l'occasion. Mais pour poursuivre peut-être la conversation, étant donné que nous sommes dans un contexte de s'adresser aux jeunes, donc avec la Jeune Chambre de commerce de Montréal qui s'adresse aux professionnels et entrepreneurs de 18 à 40 ans, j'aimerais savoir, Mme Bendayan, beaucoup, puisqu'on est beaucoup plus ouvert depuis un certain nombre de semaines et de mois à parler de relance économique, certains se prononcent plus que d'autres pour une relance verte et sans vouloir faire d'amalgame nécessairement. On associe souvent les préoccupations climatiques, environnementales aux jeunes. Donc, comment est-ce que vous vous assurez pour mettre sur pied cette relance verte, d'inclure et de collaborer avec beaucoup plus de jeunes professionnels pour nous assurer que cette relève d'affaires soit incluse dans cette conversation-là également?
Mais créer des opportunités pour nos jeunes et travailler une relance verte de l'économie et c'est une priorité de notre gouvernement. On sait que l'avenir du Canada dépend de la capacité de nos jeunes à obtenir des bons emplois bien rémunérés dont ils ont besoin afin de réussir. Et on fait tout notre possible afin d'aider nos jeunes à acquérir des compétences et aussi de pouvoir participer à la relance économique que nous entamons. Moi-même, j'ai lancé une consultation auprès de mes concitoyens sur en fait, c'était très large, à savoir les priorités des résidents de mon comté pour l'avenir. Et je dois vous avouer, la relance verte et une relance économique verte a été parmi les tout premiers en termes de commentaires. Je pense que ça rejoint à peu près tous les Montréalais et c'est important aussi de souligner qu'en ce moment, on est à 2 semaines d'un discours du trône. On est en train de discuter justement de ça au sein du gouvernement. Alors, oui, je vous dirais que ça fait partie intégrante de nos conversations au sein du gouvernement en ce moment. Et nous savons que bien qu'il y a énormément de programmes déjà sur pied, et si vous prenez des notes, je vais peut-être en mentionner quelques-uns. Depuis 2017, nous avons le plan pour l'innovation et les compétences qui vise à faire du Canada un centre d'innovation de premier plan. Et nous avons le carrefour de la croissance propre. En anglais, c'est le Clean Growth Hub. C'est un guichet unique pan-gouvernemental destiné aux entreprises et aux jeunes qui veulent s'intégrer dans le secteur des technologies propres. Nous avons la Fondation Technologie du développement durable du Canada. Et cette fondation-là s'est vue octroyer 400 millions de dollars sur 5 ans. Alors, si vous êtes intéressé par ça vaudrait la peine. Et nous avons également l'initiative des super grappes d'innovation qui touche également le développement durable et les énergies propres. Alors, encore une fois, nous avons énormément de programmes et d'argent sur la table, mais je crois que c'est mon intérêt, c'est l'intérêt de plusieurs au sein du gouvernement de s'assurer que les besoins et les demandes du secteur soient pris en compte. Et nous savons, par exemple, que 94% des emplois dans le secteur des technologies propres offrent un emploi à temps plein, contre 80% pour l'ensemble de l'économie. Alors, vous voyez que ce sont des bons emplois à temps plein et ça pourrait faire partie intégrante de notre relance économique.
Et du plan de carrière de plusieurs personnes dans un contexte de post-pandémie. I know I'm looking at the time and I know we're quickly leading towards the end, but I just want to go back to what you were mentioning earlier, Minister Ng, on international trade. And as you've been saying, both of you actually, and as we know at the Junior Chamber of Commerce, small businesses are the heart of our economies, our communities as well, and our country. And I wanted to know how, with the Canadian economic recovery in place, and how are you preparing yourself and also your team to help young entrepreneurs in general, particularly after the pandemic when there are travel bans, nobody can actually travel and maybe meet new suppliers and whatnot. How are you preparing to reduce those physical barriers, but also make us be much more in contact with the world?
Well, that's a terrific question. And the answer is we are going to do this. We're not going to let COVID-19 to, stop us from trading or from doing business. And certainly we're not going to let it stop us from doing international business. So there's a couple of things that we have done during the course of COVID-19. I talked a little earlier about what we necessarily need to do as a government to make sure that the trading system, the multilateral rules-based trading system, continues to work for Canada, and doing our part in leading that effort, through the World Trade Organization and so forth. So Canada really does take, leadership role there. But in terms of practicality, in terms of, I often say Canada has access to like 60% of the world's economy. We've got these great trade agreements, but they're only agreements unless we can get businesses growing and trading, right? And this includes our small and medium-sized businesses, which is why I'm the Minister of Small Business and I'm the Minister of International Trade. It's being able to help our businesses with that bridge to access these great opportunities, these customers in the global marketplace. So we've got trade commissioners all around the world. And throughout COVID-19, they have been helping businesses who operate internationally problem solve, deal with some of the issues that might have come up during COVID-19, getting a shipment out that may not be able to get out because there's an export restriction. So they've done a lot of problem solving, but they've also continued to do the work in country for Canadian businesses that are operating abroad. We've got a great program in Can Export. And for those of you who don't know what Can Export is, this government made it over $100 million investment in a program that really helps businesses go to things like trade shows, get their businesses in ready shape so that they can, in fact, export and grow. So we've taken that program, we've adapted it in COVID-19. We know that you can't go to a trade show and get on a plane, etc. But we are going to help you, for example, to take your operation and go a little bit and go digital, as an example. Yesterday, I just launched our first virtual trade mission between Canada and Korea. So we have
taking notes again. Okay, yeah.
So Canada and Korea, of course, we have a free trade agreement. This year actually marks the 5th year anniversary of that FTA between our two countries. My colleague, the trade minister for Korea, and I launched yesterday a virtual trade mission that's going to take place in November. It's a women's-led trade mission. It's going
more notes.
Yeah. And this follows on a trade mission that women-led trade mission to Japan last year. And what this is, we had this on the books. We were planning to go earlier this year, and then of course COVID hit. With the travel restrictions, we couldn't. But we said to ourselves, look, we've got all these, we've got all these great companies. Let's keep doing. Let's go and do it. So it's going to happen in November. We are going to do it virtually, and we're going to use the tools, and we will adapt. We're going to adapt. We're going to do our level best so that we can get companies growing into that marketplace. And we're going to try something different, and we're going to try something new. And I could probably go on and on about the range of other measures, but suffice it to say, what is our goal in this economic recovery? Helping businesses, like I said, bridge through this COVID-19 period, and continue to find different new potential ways of helping our businesses continue to grow. And I think that this virtual trade mission is one way of being able to do that, and making sure that we have the supports in place, like through, also through EDC and BDC, just the supports that are there to help our Canadian entrepreneurs continue to grow. That is a commitment that we are steadfast to, and we're going to keep doing it.
Thank you very much for those insights. And I know that I will be following up on that information for November, that virtual trade missions, particularly focused on women. So maybe you'll hear some news from us. I have two last questions, because I see, again, that time is running out, but I would like to take the opportunity maybe to speak on an upcoming project that we're working on at the Junior Chamber of Commerce. It's actually a white paper. As we're talking about women entrepreneurship, we're working on a white paper that will be published in the upcoming days on maternity leave and women entrepreneurs, and more particularly giving recommendations to the government in terms of support that they can provide for small business owners. I read particularly on your work, the Government of Canada's work to support women's economic empowerment, complements other work to advance gender equality, including legislating, investing nearly $1.2 billion to support childcare in 2020 to 2021. Could you give us maybe some insight on how your team intends on addressing that specific issue? I know a lot of the work was pre-COVID. Right now, how does the pandemic change your goal and the orientation that you were giving that particular aspect of your strategy?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, women's economic empowerment is not just about investing so that they can have access to capital, for example, to start their business, right? I mean, we know that that childcare is absolutely critical and important because that's an economic tool, right? I mean, a woman-led business or her career, you should be able to do both, and that's what this is about. We've changed laws to make parental leave a lot more flexible and a lot more inclusive. So it's making sure that you have these. The Canada Child Benefit was also about helping a family. So when you help a family, you help a woman's career and her aspirations. During the Safe Restart, as I said earlier, making as economy starts again, that provinces and that women and that families have access to childcare is absolutely critical, because you're going to need to have that in an effort for you to go back and return to work, and particularly right now coming out of COVID-19. I mean, many of the women I talked to wear so many hats, and the reason they wear so many hats is we're doing this. Guess what? You're also looking after your family, which is probably in the next room or maybe in front of, so they're wearing a lot of hats. And what we need, what we aim to do is try to create the right conditions so that our entrepreneurs and our business leaders and our small business owners, particularly those that, particular women, are indeed supported. So to build, and congratulations on putting out that white paper. I think it's so important, given your membership and how important of an issue this is. And I think that government does our work best when we focus on people, and when we hear what the issues are for you, so that we can actually address them. And that's how prosperity is. It isn't just about it is absence growth, for sure, no question. But that business growth happens because it's inclusive growth, because we've actually also considered the social elements as well. That is absolutely necessary. Like I said earlier, we're still COVID-19. We're going to have to do this as Team Canada to get through this, and know that the federal government is here, and we will continue because we know how resilient our businesses are, and we know what the future can look like. But we'll do it together.
Definitely. I noticed that we may have some technical issues, but we do clearly hear you still, Minister Ng. I see there's a question from the audience. There's one question that I'd like to share with you ladies. Amélie, thank you very much for your question. The federal government has been amazing at supporting existing businesses since March. I'm interested to know if you plan on supporting new future businesses that will arise during or after COVID. So, of course, you both can answer. I don't know if you, Minister Ng, you want to start, and Mrs. Bendayan, you will finish. Good. So you can
yes,
start.
And you know what? I apologize, Deborah. I see this like low battery thing. Worried.
Oh, that's what's happening.
If I drop off, you'll know. The answer is nothing is on the table. Nothing is the table. Everything is always on the table, and listening to businesses is what's key. So, so I guess it is just stay tuned and keep talking to us, because our job here is to help businesses through this, including those dynamic businesses that did start during COVID-19. That's what we're talking about. Some of the resiliency. There's been a lot of difficulty, but there also has been some really terrific examples of businesses that have pivoted or even started during COVID-19 to meet the needs of today.
Definitely. Thank you, Annette. And we do hope that your battery doesn't run lower. We do have another question from the public that was submitted a while ago, so I just want to share that with you, Mrs. Bendayan, if that's okay. Thank you again, Amélie, for your question. I think in summary, stay tuned, because the role of the government, and in particular the team of Minister Ng, is to help entrepreneurs and businesses to get through that time. many, Mrs. Bendayan, many startups that began their operations right before the pandemic. So we're still in the same area, the same subject. Hit before the pandemic hit, and seasonal businesses have fallen through the cracks sometimes of government support that was made available. Will there be new programs for those businesses in the recovery phase?
Well, thank you, Deborah. As Mary just said, absolutely nothing is off the table, and we are monitoring very closely. I just had several calls today, and I know that the minister has many every day with different sectors. So, for example, I was speaking to folks in the tourism sector. We understand that travel restrictions and a lot of their business have been affected significantly, and so perhaps different responses for different sectors might be necessary. But the fact that a lot of startups are already geared towards the realities that we are currently living in, for me and for many of the ministers means that, this is a huge engine of growth and potential for our economic recovery. And, because they are small and just starting out, they're often very nimble and able to also pivot to changing circumstances quite rapidly. Et juste aussi pour mentionner, parce qu'on parlait des jeunes entrepreneurs et des startups, il y a Futurpreneur, je sais qu'ils travaillent en collaboration avec la GCCM et ils ont à peu près 20 millions de dollars pour soutenir les jeunes entrepreneurs qui sont confrontés à des difficultés en raison de la COVID-19. Alors, ça, c'est aussi c'est très important à retenir parce que ce 20 millions de dollars-là, c'est un 20 millions supplémentaire de ce qu'ils avaient déjà et donc ça fait en sorte que Futurpreneur a quand même des moyens importants pour aider les entrepreneurs et startups.
Mais tout à fait. Merci beaucoup, Mme Bendayan. J'ai vu effectivement qu'on a dû se départir de l'écran de la Ministre Ng pour des soucis techniques, mais je sais qu'on a eu véritablement une conversation riche. Merci encore pour votre disponibilité. On est à deux minutes avant l'heure de la fin, après le retard qu'on a dû prendre en raison des soucis techniques. Merci beaucoup du fond du cœur. Vous transmettrez bien évidemment nos salutations et nos remerciements au nom de la Jeune Chambre et bien évidemment de notre partenaire TD qui présente l'événement à la Ministre Ng. Merci encore d'avoir été là. Merci à notre auditoire d'avoir été là. Bien évidemment, vous pouvez partager, revoir la conversation, surtout pour les informations et les programmes précis qu'ont mentionné Mme Bendayan ainsi que la Ministre Ng. Sur ce, je vous encourage à nous suivre au jccm.org. On a une conversation, un dîner-causerie qui s'en vient mardi prochain sur la diversité et l'inclusion dans le milieu des affaires. Je suis persuadée qu'il y a beaucoup de personnes qui nous écoutent aujourd'hui qui ne voudraient pas manquer ça. Au plaisir et à très bientôt.